Assassin's Creed turns 15 this year. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. Joining us is Kate Heartfield, author of a new novel that opens a new chapter in the Assassin's Creed universe, The Magus Conspiracy. Hi, Kate.
Hi, very happy to be here.
Great to see you. So, Assassin's Creed from Ubisoft is one of the most popular video game franchises. Captivating action adventure. It spawned a series of books as well. And you're the author of the latest. Congratulations, and tell us about the experience.
Yeah, so I'm an author of science fiction and fantasy novels, and I'm also a player of Assassin's Creed video games. And those who have played the games will know that they're set in historical settings, sort of using history as a playground for video games that follow these two factions, Assassins and Templars, in this ongoing war for the course of humanity's destiny. So, lots of scope for storytelling in that. And I tend to be drawn to historical settings. So it was a great chance for me to write The Magus Conspiracy, which has a beautiful cover by Bastian Jez, red and gold, and features an assassin on the cover.
Well, did it require a different, I mean, you've been doing science fiction, but did it require a different writing style at all for you? Tell me about it.
Not that much, actually. I had never written for another property before. I'd written my own work, but I hadn't written a tie-in novel before. And so I wasn't really sure what to expect in terms of how much Ubisoft and my publisher, Aconite Books, would be kind of looking over my shoulder or telling me how to write. And in fact, it was a really wonderful collaborative process where my own style was what they wanted for the book, and they knew how I wrote and thought that I was a good fit. So once we had ironed out the outline and gone back and forth a little bit on the storytelling aspects of it, then I just kind of shut the door and wrote my first draft. And it never really felt that different from writing any other book.
So tell us about the storyline here. What should fans know?
So the Magus Conspiracy begins in 1851. And it follows a couple of characters around a few different countries in Europe over the course of the next decade. Europe in the middle of the 19th century was a very fractious place politically. There had just been a series of revolutions across Europe. And of course, it was a time of great change in terms of the industrial age and technology and science and everything else. So there's a lot of ferment going on in Europe at this time. And the two characters that we follow are Simeon, who's a British soldier, and we meet him on the HMS Birkenhead, which is about to go down. And we meet Pierrette, who is an equestrian acrobat at the Great Exhibition in London at the same time. And then their paths cross as they both find out more about the Assassin's Brotherhood and about this conspiracy that's going on that they have to solve.
Well, what are some of the things that have made this franchise, in your opinion here, so popular and long lasting? You've been a player too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely a player, and everyone in my household plays the games, so I've long been a fan and an admirer of the series. And I think there are a couple of things that make it a really strong series and something that has a lot of life in it for many years to come. I think one of them is that historical setting, which I think is really fun because there are so many different places to explore, and we never know where the games are going to go next. And I think another one is that there's always a real focus on character. The assassins are people that we really get to know, and because they are assassins, they are obviously morally gray, and they're not cardboard cutouts. The good guys and bad guys, you never quite know who's a good guy and who's a bad guy in Assassin's Creed, and I think that's really interesting and really fun to write for an author as well.
So my assumption is that the readers of these books, and this new one included, are typically gamers too. I imagine that's what draws them to the book.
Yeah, I think a lot of gamers are drawn to them, and I think that's one of the core audiences that we had in mind, the core readerships for the book. But I've been kind of pleasantly surprised that several people who have never played Assassin's Creed have picked up the Magus Conspiracy. They just thought it sounded interesting. based on the historical setting and the ideas that it explores, or they had read my other work or something like that. And they found it totally easy to understand, and that they didn't have any trouble getting into the storyline at all, which is great because I tried to do that deliberately. I tried to write it in such a way that you don't have to have played Assassin's Creed to understand the book. But at the same time, I really wanted the gamers to be to fall in love with it and to feel like, yes, this is an Assassin's Creed book. So I really tried to do a lot of homework in terms of understanding the philosophy behind the game and making sure that the storyline fit into the overall universe and didn't seem off or out of place at all.
I understand you also teach journalism at the college level in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Your students must think this is pretty cool that you're writing this book.
I think so. Yeah. I teach arts and culture journalism, so I talk about novel writing quite a bit, and I try not to tell too many anecdotes about my own novel work. But yeah, it's definitely something that a lot of my students know, and they play the games as well. So that's always fun to talk about in class.
And we should mention, too, that as of a couple of days ago, I think, Ubisoft has now officially unveiled the next game, Mirage, taking us back to 9th century Baghdad. So this is going on and on. This will continue.
Yeah, Mirage looks fantastic. It follows one of the characters that people got to know in Valhalla, but it's actually earlier, and the few things that have come out about Mirage so far look really interesting and exciting. I was watching the showcase the other day where they talked about what's coming next. There are a few different projects that are in the works. So it's really exciting to see that these stories are just going to continue. And in terms of my own work as well, the Magus Conspiracy does have a sequel. It's called The Resurrection Plot. And that'll be coming out in 2023, probably in the summer of 2023. And I'm working on that now.
Wow, that's just terrific. Well, congratulations. This book, again, is called The Magus Conspiracy, Magus. Kate Heartfield, thank you for taking the time with us.
Thank you so much. It's been lots of fun.